Welcome back. You know, the uh, the fairy tale has thrown so many, you know, assumed narratives my way as options for my life and my destiny. They're like, here, here's your options, Ben. Trying to throw me options, like they know what's best for me. They said, here's your options, Ben, and so I get a call as one of my options. It's a job trying to get me to come work for them, saying that previously they reached out and said they went with another candidate, so I wouldn't be working with them. But now they're reaching out saying that that's all changed. That they're gonna forward my application, which has just made me redecide where I'm going to set my boundaries on these things. So, you're not going to make me the company cuck sitting off to the side waiting for something to go wrong, so that when the guy in charge fucks up, I can go in and fill his position. I can run in and, oh, it's my lucky day, it's my turn to shine. That I'm not in those shoes. Those aren't the shoes that I'm in. I'm not competing to jump on a fucking hamster wheel. I'm not competing for that. Yeah, I mean, sure, you go to a lot of third world developing countries, you can find a lot of people that are willing to compete for the 5th place spot. But if I'm not even top 3, I'm like, if I'm not training to be top 3 or getting my experience to be top 3, I'm like, forget it, buddy. Because I can go home and build my empire. Put time towards building my empire. The answer's simple to me. I got my whole life ahead of me to sit here and tell you guys, that I always have better judgment compared to the options they give me. I could sit here and do that till the day I die. I will never run out of those stories. Because they're like, here, Ben, here's your options. And I'm like, hey, option A and B you gave me suck. But you didn't give me this option C. But I'll go ahead and start my podcast and build my empire. my option was to sit off to the side and be the company cuck. Yeah, you know what happens to people who put people in those positions when they didn't wish for it? You should see. And we don't have to imagine. We don't have to imagine. We don't have to sit around and imagine. Just as well as I do, karma happens in ways that are just so obvious. So when it happens to you and you're put in a position where you're an option, you go on these dates and you feel like guys or girls, whoever did this to me makes you feel like you're an option, just know that karma happens in ways that are obvious, and you put yourself through the pain. When you go through that pain, really just sit back and wonder, who is the problem? All right? And look, I'll be the first to admit it, as humble, as open, and as just as open as I can be, as soft as I can be. I've been the problem before. All right, I have been the problem before. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I'm all good. I've never done anything wrong. We've all done things. Pretty sure anyone can tell you that they've done things wrong before. Excuse me. But anyone who's done things wrong, if you're anything like me, you know you did wrong. You openly admitted it. It was freeing for you. It was freeing for you to get the mistake off your chest and to better yourself and move forward. Only a rookie, a straight humanity rookie who's trying to hold people back would take someone who's already made amends with their mistake, drag them back to the mistake, and rub their fucking face in it like it's a pile of shit, and smear as much of the shit on their face as they can possibly get. I don't know many people who would it would be kind of silly to be in those shoes, right? Where you're like, hey, you've already made amends with that thing you did wrong 6 years ago, right? But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take your face and smear it in the shit. It doesn't really help anything. It doesn't make anything better. It doesn't magically change the future. However, if the mistake or whatever happened within the last, say, 2 years or so, and you want to smear their face in it, that's valid. It might take 2 years to solve someone's crime. That's completely valid. We're not talking about that. If it's 2 years, you still haven't figured out who done it, maybe nobody did it. That being said, I don't think that basic normal situations like getting a job, I don't think that we should overcomplicate it like this. Alright? You either accept my application or you deny the application. There's only really... Maybe in the fairy tale world, there's a third option. But in the real fucking world, you can only accept or deny my application. You can't circle the word or in between accept or deny. You can't just circle the word or, hand in your paper like that's a fucking right option. Alright? So you're going to have to get your shit together and start being decisive, HR departments. I mean, I don't know if you guys fucking didn't get enough sleep the night before, or if, your partner was cheating on you, or, you didn't get that. I'm not sure what it was, what the problem was, but it needs to be sorted out. I don't care who started it. Alright, I don't care. But an HR department for multi-million-dollar companies not being able to decide who's the best candidate for the job, well, suck my dick and call me unemployed. I'm proud to be it too. I'm supposed to be the guy who the government looks at as an example of what not to be. So everyone's got their eyes on me, and they're seeing exactly what to do. So if the government's saying, don't do what that guy does, and I'm doing what you're supposed to do, bringing the empty trash cans back to the spots, taking out my dogs, and doing the things. I'm making music that isn't about a pity story, a fucking pity party, but instead it's a good example of what the world should be like. And instead, I'm supposed to be right. I'm supposed to think that I'm the guy who's made a bad example of, the guy who the kids aren't supposed to be like, right? I'm supposed to believe that that's me. That's who I am, right? I don't believe it. I don't believe it. And that's not to say that you should be exactly like me. Because, of course, there's, like I've said it a million times, your goal should be to do better than me. But if a leader I'm not, then I don't know who is. Okay? If a leader I've not been, I don't know who is. If we can't unite under my purpose, I don't know whose purpose we can unite under. And that's saying a lot. I have, I have it in good faith that a lot of the people who have been, pushed very far in the media have been saying that, they've been hiding, the media has been hiding stuff from you. And if I'm the guy, 0 views, who's talking so much sense, you just don't know if you want to agree with me or not because of the amount of views I have. You're like, this guy's speaking straight facts, but look at how many views he has. Maybe I'm the truth that's being covered up. We pull out the alien. Anything to distract from the fact that Vivek Ramaswamy stole my ideas. And I love you, Trump. Yeah, I know I'm kind of shifting from one thing to another. Trump, I fucking love you, dog. But really, you want to choose? I know you're not gonna do that. I know you're not gonna do that. You're smarter than to choose someone who can't come up with their own original ideas. You're smarter than that. You really are. You know what's going on with me. I'm just being shoved down and hidden from you like anybody else. Like you were to us. We fought for you, man. We told people in workplaces we got kicked out of that Trump was our man, Trump was the guy that was going to get us, We heard the liberals crying about gas prices, how they couldn't survive. I said, sounds like you need Trump. Because that's just the real fucking world. I didn't ask... You don't have to ask me to lie for you. So all I'm asking you to do is to not fucking lie for a fucking vote to your people. And say that you're gonna nominate this guy as VP who can't even come up with his own fucking original ideas. If you really represent us, represent that. If you really hear us, man, I want to see that. You're my guy. You're the guy I bet I left, bullshit for. I left the bullshit for. I said, we ain't got to worry about the bullshit. My boy Trump got it. He gonna get us. When you gonna get us, dog? You're still fucking around with these dudes who don't have a fucking clue about what our country should look like in 10 years. If you don't have at least a vision in mind, what the fuck are you running for? What are you even running towards? Let's get to the important questions here. What are we running towards? Straight intellectual property thievery is what we're running towards. Again, we're running towards another Edison made the light bulb. And the real people who made the light bulb is us, the people. So we're carrying the weight that they sit up and pretend to carry 24/7, you know. We fucking, at least for me personally, I don't know if I can speak for everyone out there, but we go into our workplaces when we actually have employment, right? When we have a constant stream of income, a consistent stream of income, we go and put effort towards that every day, including on our sick days, by the way. What you would literally consider a sick day, you know, temperature 102, pale skin, fucking weak bones. Like, go home, get out of here, get well, and then come back ass sick. And we'll still go in, outperform motherfuckers on our worst day. Outperform dudes on our worst day. And what? We're supposed to believe that we aren't patriotic enough. We don't hate the Democrats enough, so we're not Republican like you, Donald. If we gotta spend our whole fucking existence proving to you that we're loyal to you, what the fuck do we gotta do? You hear people on the streets that openly talk about, you know, oh, maybe we can assassinate this dude. How many of those people are laughing by your side, bro? While I'm actually here endorsing you, even in places where you don't see it. And so, you know, remember, I shouldn't be trying to impress you. You should be trying to impress me. I'm the people. I'm the person. I'm the vote that matters. And quite frankly, with the way things have been heading, nobody has my vote. Because you guys aren't a vote. Everything that I would put a vote on would be a gamble right now. We're at the casino playing slots, and we're all losing grands of money, thousands, on the gamble that we call the United States government. So you want me, and I tell you, I tell you straight up, I'm like, hey, I'm not paying taxes. I'm not being part of the circus. I'm not giving energy towards the circus. If the government is people elected and we all took a vote on ourselves, then guess what? Whatever you thought you had, the little fucking circus show, nobody's paying attention to it anymore. It doesn't have power anymore. It doesn't have power over the people like it used to. We're like, hey, you can kiss our ass if you're still trying to drag us down, because we're all good over here, homie. We're all good. You know, I know sometimes I act like, you know, it's hard to come up on here and speak the truth. And it's you know, it can be a rocky climb for sure with some ups and downs, but that being said, I'll always go back one. You know, for me, it would be a lot easier to speak the truth, get it off the chest, and excuse me, get it off the chest, deal with the consequences and everything, than to continue my life living a lie where I never opened up, never confessed the things I did wrong, and pointed out the things that should have been right, that we could have done right. We have lost more time keeping our mouths shut on what's right and speaking up for what's right than we've lost on trying to convince people they're wrong. You know? That's what I'm saying. You spend so much time trying to convince someone that they're just wrong. It's not worth it. You know, you can be like, hey, here's what's right. You know, here's the right answer. So, I'm not gonna, you know, worry about being televised, because I know that the only real thing you have a choice about on what's televised on this mainstream news is the you know, whatever they choose to televise to you. But if you're coming to watch my message, it's because you've chosen to do that. You know, it's not, you know, it is a simple communication between me and whatever listener chose to listen to my podcast. It's not whatever they're force-fed through, you know, programming. I'm not force-feeding any of the people who watch my stuff. I don't have to force-feed them anything. I just tell them the experiences I've lived, and they say it's one way or the other. They say either it is a duck or it isn't a duck. But they don't overcomplicate it. You know, they'd never do that. So there was, you know, nevertheless, there was times where, you know, I receive a job, and I'm thinking, oh, this will be a nice trade-off. I trade my hours for a weekly income. That's what many people understood a job to be many years ago, but Now for the average, American, a job is the choice between, having your reputation and not having your reputation. What I'm saying is you can build more of a name for yourself off the clock than in the clock. And a majority of the time when you're in the clock and on the clock, you're destroying your reputation. You're not actually building one. That's where, people go to be brainwashed into finding the one thing you do wrong. That's where people get into, where some people actually get into drugs, is in the workplace. The workplace isn't what it used to be anymore. Especially if you're someone who's looking forward to, maybe starting a family, having, kids, and feeding those kids. You might as well just, take your last paycheck, go get some fishing poles, a few, a few little utilities, fishing utilities. Go out, catch yourself some fish, and throw some food on the table. Because for the result that you're getting with the workplace these days, it's just not valuable. The experience isn't valuable. We're not going to be using it 10 years from now. We can get ahead by simulating new things on our computers. What a potential job would be like 10 years from now. Just simulate it on our computer and fucking get VR experience. That's what people have been doing. But it's because they understand that the job and the trade-off, it's just a joke. It's just a bunch of people pretending that they're rich. And we can all see right through it. It's a bunch of people buying AirPods. Too cool for school, they got their AirPods in as they walk by. Because they know if they even interacted with you, you would notice how fragile their arguments are for the reason they live their life the way they live their life. So they keep their AirPods in to just cut out the world. They're like, my argument's so fragile, I'm going to keep my headphones on, shut out the world, and I'm never going to say a word to anybody. If somebody says something to me, I take my AirPod out and I'm like, hey, I'm listening to music, buddy. And I throw my AirPod back in. You don't know how many, little warehouse working punks I've seen like that. Like, buddy, you think you're original, dude. You've been cloned over 500,000 times across the nation by the U.S. government. Your spot, the road you travel, the car you drive, it's not unique. You're not the only one driving and riding on that road. There's millions of others, buddy. They tell you to fucking stand out. Good thing it isn't your job to stand out. That's why I'm here. I've been making adjustments. You know what I mean? I've been making adjustments. I believe in making adjustments when things sound completely silly and completely ridiculous. You should want to fail and then make adjustments. If you don't want to fail and then make adjustments, and you just want to fail and continue to fail, just get the fuck out of here. Take your shit. Get it out of here. Throw it away. It's junk. It's absolutely pointless. We have, one life here on this earth. You can choose it doing the thing that you actually love to do, that actually puts a smile on your face, Some people like to sit up and be keyboard fucking bullies towards victims, good people who are victims of circumstances. I like to bully the people who aren't victims to their circumstances. I like to bully people, but I choose a specific target. I choose the targets who knew the risk going into the circumstance and put themselves in the circumstance. That's who I like to bully. I like to bully those motherfuckers. The people who are like, hey, I know the risk. I know what I'm risking getting into this. Those are the people that I like to bully. The people who swear that, they're always right, never wrong. And that's another thing too. They swear they're right. It's not like, I'm going to sit here and pretend I didn't do anything wrong. Like I said to you, sometimes I'm the problem. All right? It's just some of these people are better at hiding the things they do wrong than we are, the citizens. So it's like, you just can't reason with them. You can't reason with them because they're not in reality, They're still under the assumption that everyone thinks that they're perfect because they're a leader. And they must not have done anything wrong. And some people take this advice to the wrong fucking targets. They take this advice to someone like Elon Musk, who will goddamn show you the thing he does wrong. He'll show you he puffed a blunt on the fucking podcast. He's not trying to hide it. There's nothing to fucking hide. Instead, we should be using this advice towards the people who seem too fucking perfect to be true. Right? Instead of using it against the people who openly share their red flags. They're like, here it is. Apparently I have anger problems. But I also don't misdirect that anger. And I've never heard of anger being a bad emotion. I've heard of anger being emotionally and historically used to fix unfair circumstances. That's what human anger has been used for historically. So you'll find I get angry, yeah. But what was it I was angry about? Everyone likes to point fingers back at me like I'm the fucking bad guy. It's like, how much damage was really caused versus how much damage was endured? Those people during the Boston Tea Party fucking dumping the tea over the fucking boats and shit. They knew it was illegal to do that. It was also illegal you know, years before all the bullshit they endured from their tyrannical government. I say this time and time again. All that shit was illegal too. So, you know, the minute you pull out your pistol and try to duel, you just got to understand that the other person might have a bigger bullet than you. Right? So, when they poured out their tea and the government says, hold on, why the fuck are you doing this? The government has 30 other fingers pointed back at it, is my point. The government's the one with their little fucking .22 pistol. And then the citizens are sitting back with their fucking .50 calibers ready for fucking war. Well, in other words, if you're going to start war, make sure make sure you have a solid foundation. Or if you're going to start, a fight with the opposite side politically, or you're going to try and, get back, or, you're going to try and start some kind of fight, right? Make sure you expect for that person to get back, In other words, don't throw the mud and not expect for mud to be thrown back. And most certainly, don't throw that mud at someone who just has no limits to what they create. They're going to take that mud and they're going to create with it. They're going to create a kingdom. And that kingdom will be stopped by nothing. So you throw the mud while you're living in a glass house. And you threw that mud at people who can create. They made bricks out of that mud. They slammed it together in a tight, dense bricks. And they built their kingdom. That's what happened. And I can't sit here and pretend like it could have gotten any easier. They gave me the energy to go and do this. They really couldn't have gotten any easier. Y'all threw so much dirt on my name that I know wasn't true. And I'm like, hold on, something ain't right here. This ain't even my story, dog. Like, what? So I knew something was up. I'm like, this ain't my story. So, they thought they had me in a corner, right? They're like, hey, his name's ruined, He ain't coming back from this. And I'm like, hey, none of that shit was even true. I got a ton of other options than what you gave me. I got nothing but options. Options is my middle name at this point. I'm close with options, like I'm fucking close with the goddamn dinner bowl at 5:00. Motherfucker, I'm good with options. What I'm not good with is, sitting back and letting people talk, that's cool, you know. But letting people write your story without even living your story, like just letting people write it without ever deciding to live it out and to only, you know, focus on trying to shut them up. It's like, I can't even think of a good analogy. It's like you have a car that needs gas. And all you're able to do is go to the store and buy oil and throw more oil in it. It's like it really doesn't need the oil. In fact, throwing the oil in it, while a little bit in moderation might be good, it doesn't need the oil. And what it needs is gas. Just like my career doesn't need to be focused on shutting these people up who are attempting to rewrite my narrative. It doesn't rely on that. I don't have to shove them down. I don't have to name call them. I don't have to do any of that. The only thing I have to do is add gas to my car. I have to continue to move forward. Like I said on my song the one time, the only thing I gotta do now is let the record play. And it's true. You know, it doesn't matter at this point how hard I try. And some might say that sounds lazy. I'll still give it, you know, a good 100% because that's what I find fun in doing. That being said, it doesn't matter if I give it 70% one day. And I'll tell you, it's because of the way I do it and the direction I'm moving. I'll say that once again, and you can try and figure it out. The way I do things and the direction I'm moving, I don't have to give it 100% every day. I can fall back on 70 every Wednesday or Thursday and still pick it back up to 100 on Friday and smooth everything out when I wrap the week up. Again, because of the way I do things and the direction I move in. Some people are trying to get from A to B. And they're like, let me fucking go this way and cut it at a 90-degree angle and come up this way. If you're trying to get from A to B, just go straight to fucking B. Maybe I'm explaining things and people are just looking at me like I just explained, you know, calculus to them. But really that's just super basic geometry. You know, super freaking basic geometry and math. You know, we couldn't get, you know, any more, I don't know what you want to call it, devolved, I guess. The opposite of evolution. Devolved. Decivilized. Unintelligent. Than to give up our freedom of expression and say, here, my boss knows what's best. He knows what can and can't be said in this workplace. Or, gave up our freedom of expression, right? And said, oh, this judge knows what's best. Or gave up our freedom of expression and said, oh, this tech CEO knows what's best. Even for the things that we're scared of hearing. And I've been leading on that example, I've been leading on that, I've dealt with death threats left and right. I ain't calling up the governor trying to get them canceled or, trying to get them fucking fired from their job, trying to get them fucking thrown in jail. I'm not trying to imprison my political opponents. I just laugh. I just laugh. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, right? I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I just laugh. Like the one guy, I'm like, hey, do you know the Muffin Man? You want me to whoop your ass, he says. After I ask him if he knows the Muffin Man. I'm like, dude, you can do that, but you'll spend the night in jail. And so what I'm saying is the right thing to do, like when you hear something you're uncomfortable with, is just to laugh. Just to laugh. Now that I taught them that, they'll be using that against me. Right? That's the way they do it. But it's fine, because I'm okay with being, talked about and laughed about. That's why I'm a real leader. I don't want to shut people out because what they said hurt my feelings. When I shut people out, it's because what they did hurt my pockets, for real. Like, actually hurt my pockets. When I shut people out, it's over real shit, you know what I mean? It ain't from just like petty little words or what he said or she said. It's because someone, if I cut someone off or, I blocked someone, it's because someone affected my pockets in a way that shouldn't have been affected, It was unauthorized. And it was illegal, nothing short of illegal or theft. Those are the times I block people. And, we've had many of those things happen before. We've had Cameron Hauser steal $75 from me for a repost that he never gave me. So we've seen that one before. What we haven't seen, what haven't we seen? I'm not sure, but we still have Lil Cobain, who owes me what, $150? I want to say it's like $150, $200, $300. But he ended up saying he was gonna get me a feature. He's gonna sing a verse on one of my songs. He's gonna sing this verse for $250, let's say. I could be, wrong, give or take $100 or so. But he said, I'll get you this verse for $250, give or take 100. And the point is, he never gets me the verse. Whether there's $150 or there's not, I never ever got the fucking verse. So are we waiting until, everybody on the fucking block gets a verse with this dude, so that when they finally look up, featuring your name, that artist's name, the song that I did with him sits on the very fucking bottom, because everybody else got their feature before I did, so all their songs are going to show up before mine. And so, final decision, I'm like, okay, I'm going to remix your song here, and we'll call it even. We'll call that 50-50. Because the options, again, the options you gave me were not very 50-50. They were more like, I'll give you 100 and get nothing in return. Because that's exactly what it was. Had you looked at that money in terms of how many hours of my life was spent trying to get it, that money, you would realize why, what you were supposed to do was really important. But, you helped inflate the price of things. You could have done that work for that money. But instead, you decide, well, I'm too cool for school. Drake is completely famous, and he's still thanking people for 20-cent donations. And, you're too cool for school on a $250 fucking feature job. Get real. Step into reality once. Not everybody gets the fucking the opportunities that someone like you might. So, let this be a sign to maybe wake up and smell the fucking roses. Realize that your life is probably about at its peak, and you know who I'm talking to. I'm talking to the guy who stole my money and said it was a feature. Your life's probably about as good as it's gonna get. And that's it. That's all the further you can make it. I plan to learn from your mistakes. I plan to take that, that grim look on your face that you only got $250 for that feature. When they start paying me that for my features, I'm going to take that grim look and I'm going to throw it into the verse and make the most fire fucking verse for my fan, dog, that paid $250. I'm going to put that grimness into the verse and just make it absolutely delicious. And nothing short of it. Because if they're putting $250 into me, I'm like, they deserve no less. I can't help but feel like, they deserve no less. That's just Southern hospitality right there. But some of you motherfuckers have given the Americans a bad name, the Southern hospitality, just overall, just a bad name. And I wasn't always like this. There was a point in my life that changed my perspective. I used to be I guess what you would call a happy-go-lucky human being. Like, so happy all the time. Some might say toxically positive. I would say, looking back at my old self, that I was toxically positive, because I would sit there and be happy when I should have been standing up to things. I'd sit there and laugh at the people who were making a joke of me. And yeah, that can be fun and all. But once it starts actually affecting your income, then you gotta make a serious change, right? And that's what I'm saying. Like, I wasn't always like this. There was actually a time in my life that flipped that switch for me. And it was at FedEx, actually. It was when I saw someone get the job that I didn't know I was really working for, you know. I didn't think I really had a chance at being a trainer. But I'm getting good at package handling, and I'm like, oh, maybe I'm going to be the trainer, because people are coming up to me asking me how to do it. It was the moment, you know, a trainer asked me how to do it, who got hired on as a trainer. He got hired on as a package handler after I was hired on as a package handler. And he got promoted trainer before I ever even got any promotion. So he got hired on and promoted, you know, within like months of each other. And he's asking me how to do the fucking job. That was when shit changed for me. 'Cause I'm like, dude, I'm just another fucking Edison made the light bulb. Deep down, I'm like, I'm just another guy making the light bulb, getting Edison the fucking credit for it. And I don't want to be that guy. I'm not that guy. Instead, like, you give me those options, I'm like, hey, I'll go put in work under OT Nath, baby. I'll give credit to myself here on my own shit. You can sit back and laugh it up. I'll be over here doing what I love. Cooking up the news. It's been snowy here in Pennsylvania. You know, we get snow and then it melts in 3 days. It's fucking laid down 6 feet on the ground. You fall asleep or look away, and 30 seconds later you're like, where's the snow gone? I guess that's just what the weather's been like, you know. Kind of jumping topics here, but I think that's really all I have to talk about, you know. I could sit here and talk about nonsense, but when I come on here, I want to be intentional with my words, and I don't want to sit here and bullshit, you know. Last thing I'll say is, we went over how taxes are too high. We went over how taking a job is too much of a risk nowadays for the average worker. You know, you got the gas price of going out to the interview just to be told no, you know. It's becoming too much of a risk for the average American that it's no longer a fair start. You got the politicians who are scratching the backs of other politicians who stabbed them in the back. You got the I'd say last but not least, get the hell off your phone. Stop scrolling on Facebook. Stop eating what the algorithm feeds you. Like, the algorithm's like, here, maybe you'll like this. Tell the algorithm, fuck no, I don't like that. And then search up something that you do like. Quit letting this algorithm pretend that it knows you better than you know your fucking self. That is how you become a slave. When you open your YouTube app, and you often find yourself saying, well, I didn't even know I wanted to watch this video, but here it is. I didn't even know I wanted to watch this until I saw it. That's probably because you didn't fucking want to watch it. You didn't even know it existed. You wanted to do something else. You were going on YouTube to look up something, and this stupid ass fucking whatever video has completely distracted your attention from it. So we need to get better at holding those thoughts of like what we were planning to look up so that we can control the devices and not the other way around. Because the minute you're like, hey, I'm going to start a timer for my pizza on my phone, and you find yourself fucking 30 minutes into Flappy Bird or fucking something like that, and your pizza's burnt because you forgot to fucking set the timer and you lost yourself in Flappy Bird, that's like a complete exaggeration of what I just told you, but it can indeed look like that. More realistically, you're going to lose, hours of valuable time scrolling on Facebook when you could have been learning a new skill, starting a new hobby, actually doing something that adds something to the foundation of your life. But if you think that scrolling Facebook is a hobby, I'm going to look at you like, what fucking hobby? Where's the hobby? You have joy in destroying yourself.